A new year with new possibilities and opportunities. Everywhere you look, you'll see people with creative energy, excited about all the crafty things ahead. But what if you're not feeling that way at all? For me, too many choices and the expectation of a new year can create fear and overwhelm, especially if I haven't created a single thing for a few weeks. It's like walking back into the office after a long vacation, not sure where to start. It's super easy to get stuck in your head and lose your creative mojo altogether. So if you're not quite feeling those new year, new you vibes, or if you lose your mojo at any time of the year, this video is for you. It might surprise you to know that this happens to me quite a bit. I've been creating for over 30 years now, and I know that whenever I take a break from my craft room, it can be hard for me to reset. Over time, I've come up with some practical tips and strategies to get myself out of a funk, and I'd love to share them with you. First up, here's a look at the supplies I'll be working with. This is Maggie Holmes' Parasol collection. I do not have a plan for my project. I am just going to get started. I won't be creating a scrapbook layout or card today. I'm calling these embellishment cluster tag thingies. I'll share all my tips and tricks along the way. It's time to get started. The very first thing that I'm going to do is die cut out a set of tags. I'm going to work with two sizes, a large and a small, and this actually brings me to tip number 1. If you're feeling overwhelmed and really have lost your mojo, it's important that you don't sit in the feeling. You need to do something creative, and by creative, I mean anything at all. You could fussy cut flowers or maybe punch some shapes from paper scraps. For this project, all I was really thinking about was die cutting out those tags. I kept it really simple, had no pressure on myself in terms of what I was going to create. I just started from there. That's actually tip number 2. Start small. Now is not the time to start a wedding album. Work on a singular project that's small and easy to accomplish. When I sat down for this project, I really just had in mind to cut out maybe 6 tags and to decorate those 6 tags. I had no grand plans of putting them together into an album. I had not printed photos or even thought about photos. My only focus was doing something and starting with a very small project. You might also notice that the other thing I've done really early on are all the simple tasks. So there was a cut apart sheet in the collection, and I thought, you know what? Why don't I just spend 2 minutes cutting all these elements apart? I don't have to think too much about that. I'm not thinking about embellishment clusters and balance and color and any of that. All I'm going to do is sit here quietly and fussy cut out these elements. This will not only get me started, but I'll be very thankful for these ready to go embellishments as soon as my mojo kicks back in. I am working with some of my most favorite supplies today, and that is not an accident. That is actually tip number 3. If you're not quite feeling it, work with supplies that you love. It's not the day for a challenge or time to stash bust old or ugly supplies. Make things super easy for yourself and choose supplies that you're really drawn to in this moment. For me, that will always be Maggie Holmes. I've worked with her collections for years and years, and they really do feel like home. As I'm creating the layers in each tag, I really am choosing my favorite bits and pieces to add. I'm not thinking about saving the good embellishments for another project. I want to use it all today. The project itself is also something that I love. I have made many of these tags before and I've always found it really relaxing. So I knew that if I went in trying to make these, it would be something that I would also enjoy. I most recently made a bunch of these as part of a tutorial for embellishment clusters. So if you'd like to learn how to build embellishment clusters and you want to work on a very small, easy project, this could be for you. I'll be sure to link it in a card and in the description box below. This is the part where things get good. I can already feel my mojo coming back, and I'm feeling like I could turn 1 or 2 tags into maybe even a mini album. A simple mini album, yes, but remember, before I even started, all I felt like I could really do was die cut out some tags. I'm still going to keep my focus tag by tag, but I am going to build them together into this little mini album. So I'll want to start with the smallest tags at the top, and then as I flip through the album, those tags and elements will get larger. I'm also now thinking about the backs of the tag because as they flip through the album, we're of course going to see the B side. So I want to decorate both sides of each tag now. You'll see here in a moment that I'll pop them onto a jump ring as well. I really want the album to look pretty from the top down, so I will want to see how the pieces work together as a whole. And the best way I found to do that is to just pop them onto a jump ring. I want the back pages of the album to be much larger than these front ones, and I'm going to use these pocket pages to help with that. I know they're not made for this, but I bought a heap of them and I never really got into pocket scrapbooking, so I've used them a bunch in my mini albums. I'm even going to turn a couple of them into shaker pockets. What is it they say? Movement before motivation? I feel like that's exactly what happened here. I was not feeling it when I started this project, and now I'm about 30 minutes in and it's gone from basic tags to shaker pockets and a mini album. As we've been going along, I've also now decided what photos I'm going to use, and I'm going to print a bunch of our cat. His name is Ferris, and I'm actually going to gift this album to my daughter. That is tip number 4. If you are really stuck, if your mojo is long gone, create for someone else. Something happens when you flip the switch and serve others, especially when you do it in a really genuine way. Why not create a simple card for a friend, or maybe even a new page in the scrapbook album that your children will inherit? Creating for others is a beautiful way to get your mojo back. This particular tag is going to be a very special one. It's going to be a shaker pocket on both sides. So what I'm doing first is creating all the paper layers and the embellishments that will go inside the shaker pocket. Once I'm happy with all of that, I'll then slide this piece into the little plastic envelope. I will stitch around 3 sides, add in my sequins, and then add the stitching to the top. Oh yes, I need to show you too how I'm going to then attach the shaker onto the jump ring. I've cut a strip of paper that is 1 inch wide by 2 inches long and then folded that in half. It's now a tab that sits along the top edge of the pocket. It's super secure because it's been stitched in place. I'll use my crocodile to punch a hole and then it can just slip straight onto the jump ring. You can use this technique to attach anything to the album. It's actually really quite secure. The beauty of a project like this one is that you can stop and start whenever you would like. You could sit down on one day and just make one tag, one insert, and build the album up over time. I did just that, and here's a flip through the completed project. I also have one final tip to share, and that is to connect to community. This is my most favorite part of this hobby. We're all here to support and encourage each other. We all know what it's like to lose our mojo. I love chatting with you all in the comments, and I'd really love to know your experience. Have you lost your mojo? Do you have some tips and tricks that work for you that I haven't shared here? Let's all learn from each other. Where to next? Well, if you're looking for a really simple project that will help kickstart your mojo, you need to try this. Yes, it's a project that follows the 5 tips that I've just shared. I will see you all again very soon. Until then, bye!